All right, so get this. 1980s China, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some guy, just some guy, declares himself emperor. And
Wow.
he even runs his own, like, mini nation for 5 whole years.
No kidding.
I know you love these quirky historical deep dives.
I do.
Because you submitted this topic. So
Right.
let's unpack this whole story of Li Guangchang,
Okay.
a.k.a. Zhengmin, and his Zishen nation. Like, what actually went down in this self-made empire?
Well, the sources you provided show this wasn't just some guy playing dress-up.
Right.
Li Guangchang, he was ambitious.
Yep.
Even savvy, like, in building a system, right?
Yeah.
With officials and a flag.
Oh, wow.
Even his own currency.
It's like he took this whole, like, emperor fantasy to a whole new level, you know?
Yeah.
The sources even mention that he tried connecting with Taiwan.
Really?
And even snagged himself an imperial jade seal.
Wow.
Before we get into all that, though,
Sure.
let's rewind a bit.
Right.
Who was Li Guangchang before the whole, like, emperor thing started?
His background is surprisingly humble.
Really?
Born into poverty in rural China,
Yep.
he learned to read through those anti-illiteracy programs the government ran. Not exactly a privileged upbringing.
Right.
Even as a kid,
Yeah.
he dreamt of being emperor.
So this ambition was, like, simmering for years.
Yeah.
Almost like he thought he was, like, destined for greatness or something.
Exactly. And this is where understanding 1980s rural China is key.
Yeah.
The aftershocks of the Cultural Revolution were still being felt, you know?
Right.
Plus economic uncertainty was in the air.
Right.
Li's ambition might have resonated with a lot of the anxiety and discontent brewing at the time.
So maybe he was kind of a product of his times, giving a voice to folks who felt forgotten or left behind.
That's a compelling point. It's worth noting. He also served time in prison for alleged corruption.
Oh, wow.
That experience,
Yeah.
combined with his longing for power,
Yeah.
likely solidified his anti-government stance.
He truly believed he was the solution,
Right.
the rightful leader,
Right.
in a world he saw as deeply flawed.
Okay, so we have this disgruntled, ambitious guy with a serious chip on his shoulder. How does he go from, like, nobody to self-proclaimed emperor with his own, like, nation? Did he just stand on a soapbox and yell, "I'm in charge now"?
Well, he did have a knack for storytelling,
Okay.
and he found a partner in crime, Wei Zishen, who was known for being rebellious. They concocted a narrative that was equal parts intriguing and clever.
Okay, I'm hooked. What was their grand scheme?
They blended historical legacy
Okay.
and the promise of a new world order.
Right.
They claimed Li had been chosen by mysterious figures
Okay.
connected to Sun Yat-sen,
Right, yeah.
the revered first president of China.
Yeah.
They even threw in a looming nuclear war
Oh, wow.
and a secret underground weapons factory. Wow. Talk about appealing to people's deepest anxieties and desire for security.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone actually buy into this?
You might be surprised to learn that their strategy was incredibly effective.
Really?
Especially in those uncertain times, people craved stability, and someone to believe in.
Yeah.
Li and Wei presented themselves as exactly that, figures who could lead people through chaos toward a better future.
So they had the story,
Yeah.
the charismatic leader,
Yeah.
and people ready for change.
Right.
But how did they actually get this Zishen nation up and running? Did they just, like, hang a sign and declare themselves in charge?
They were actually much more organized than you might think.
Really?
They set up a structured hierarchy with officials,
Okay.
ministers, even generals. They designed their own flag.
Wow.
And even had a uniform for their makeshift army. They weren't just playing pretend.
Wow.
They were building a system.
Hold on. People actually believed they were part of this new nation?
They did. Li was also quite practical about keeping the movement going.
Right.
He encouraged donations.
Okay.
And even created his own currency to fund his micro-government. He even acquired a coal mine in Shaanxi.
Really?
Which he saw as a source of income and a potential base for the movement.
Because this wasn't some small-time village operation.
No.
They had expansion in mind, a vision that stretched beyond their initial base.
Precisely. The sources detail how Lai's movement spread across multiple counties in Zhejiang and Fujian,
Wow.
attracting followers like Lin Bingqi,
Okay.
an ex-militiaman who became a general in Lai's self-styled army. They even had a diviner, Zhang Rufifang, who predicted Li's invincibility.
Wait, a diviner predicting invincibility?
Yeah.
That's incredible. What drew people to this movement? Was it genuine belief? Opportunism?
It's hard to say. If we look at the bigger picture, it seems like it was a combination of factors. Right. China was going through a period of intense change, and
change can be scary.
Yeah.
Lint offered stability,
right,
a return to a seemingly glorious past.
Right.
Some genuinely believed in his vision.
Right.
Others were afraid to oppose him.
Right.
And some probably saw it as a chance to advance in this new order.
So this Zishen nation was a fascinating blend of ambition,
yes,
a well-crafted narrative, and a population ready to embrace something new.
Right.
But as with most self-made empires, things were bound to get complicated.
Yeah.
What exactly led to Lin's downfall?
Well, that diviner we mentioned.
Yeah, right.
Zhang Rufang.
Yeah.
He predicted Lin's invincibility in battle.
Oh, wow.
Even gave him a specific date.
Really?
And this seems to have fueled Li's confidence to plan an actual armed uprising.
Hold on, they were really going to try and take on like the entire Chinese government. That's a pretty big leap, even for someone convinced of their own, divine destiny.
It does seem incredibly audacious, right?
Yeah. According to the sources,
yeah,
Lai was totally convinced.
Wow.
And his followers, caught up in the fervor, were ready to follow his orders.
Wow.
They even supposedly created a potion.
A potion.
That would make them invincible in battle.
An invincibility potion.
Yeah.
That's a detail you don't hear every day.
Yeah.
While it might seem a bit far-fetched, I guess it shows just how much belief and perhaps desperation was swirling within the movement.
It really highlights the intensity of their convictions.
Yeah.
But this planned uprising, fueled by, prophecies and potions, was not destined for glory.
Right.
The Chinese authorities, specifically the Public Security Bureau, caught wind of the plan.
Oh, so the jig was up.
Pretty much. They raided Lai's headquarters in the spring of 1986, arresting 33 key followers, effectively dismantling the Zishen nation.
Yeah.
Their 5-year reign came to an abrupt end.
What a dramatic turn of events.
Yeah.
So what happened to Emperor Lai? Did he manage to escape with his, imperial jade seal in tow?
He did initially evade capture.
Oh.
But the authorities were relentless.
Right.
They tracked him down 2 months later all the way in Shandong province. Seems like that invincibility prediction wasn't as ironclad as he'd hoped.
Okay, so captured emperor, no magical escape.
Right.
What happened next?
Whoa.
What kind of legal trouble did he face for trying to create his own country? Given
the political climate of China at the time, the consequences were bound to be severe.
Right.
He was formally charged with leading a counter-revolutionary movement, a very serious offense back then.
So no slap on the wrist for attempted emperoring.
Definitely not. While the exact details of his sentence are a bit murky,
right,
the sources suggest he was likely given the death penalty.
Oh.
A harsh end to a story that began with such lofty aspirations.
It's a sobering reminder that self-made empires built on self-proclaimed authority.
Right.
And maybe a bit too much wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Often face a harsh reality check.
Right.
It makes you wonder, what drew people to Li's movement in the first place?
Yeah.
Was it purely the desire for a better life, a thirst for power?
Yeah.
Or was there something deeper going on?
It's easy to dismiss Li and his followers as delusional or power hungry, but as we dig deeper, we see a more complex picture. People long for belonging, for purpose, for a sense of order in a world that often feels chaotic.
Right. So maybe Li was tapping into something universal.
Yeah.
This human need for stability and meaning.
Exactly. The Zishen nation, however outlandish it may seem to us now,
offered
people a refuge from the anxieties of life in 1980s China.
Yeah.
It promised a return to traditional values, a clear hierarchy, a leader who claim to have all the answers. And in times of uncertainty, those promises can be incredibly seductive.
So were they Victims of their circumstances,
I mean,
blindly following a charismatic leader?
yeah.
Or were they active participants choosing to believe in a shared delusion? It's a tough question with no easy answers.
That's the beauty of exploring history, isn't it? It forces us to grapple with ambiguity,
Right.
to try and understand the motivations of people living in a different time and context. We can judge their actions based on our present-day understanding.
Yeah.
But to truly grasp the story, we need to try and see the world through their eyes.
And in Li Guangchang's case, it seems like he was able to create, at least for a while, a world that fulfilled those deep-seated human needs for meaning and belonging,
Yeah.
even if it was ultimately built on a foundation of illusion.
It's a powerful reminder that history isn't just about, dates and battles. It's
Yeah.
about the stories of individuals,
Right.
their dreams, their ambitions,
Yeah.
and sometimes their attempts to impose their will on the world.
Yeah.
However misguided those attempts may be.
It also highlights just how potent belief can be.
Yes.
Understood that.
Yeah.
And used it to his advantage, creating this whole narrative that people were eager to buy into. But ultimately, reality has a way of catching up with us,
Yeah.
even emperors.
And that brings us to the heart of Li Guangchang's story. What does it tell us about the nature of belief,
Boy.
the allure of power, and the fragility of self-proclaimed empires? What's fascinating here is how easily a compelling narrative, especially one that, plays on existing fears and desires, can gain traction.
Yeah.
Li Guangchang, he understood the power of storytelling. He wasn't just offering leadership. He
Right.
was presenting himself as a savior, a path to a brighter future.
He definitely had a talent for tapping into people's vulnerabilities, but there's also this tragic element to his story.
Yeah.
Did he genuinely believe in his own destiny?
It's hard to say.
Or was this all a calculated power grab?
It's a question we can't definitively answer.
Right.
However, his story underscores the importance of critical thinking, of questioning those in authority, and being wary of anyone who offers simple solutions to complex problems.
It's definitely a cautionary tale, but also a testament to that very human need for meaning and purpose, something like clearly recognized and exploited.
We all crave that sense of belonging,
Right.
of knowing our place in the world.
Yeah.
When those needs aren't met, we can become susceptible to those offering easy answers, even if those answers are rooted in fantasy or deception.
So stepping back from 1980s China,
Yeah.
what does this deep dive into the Zishen nation mean for us today?
Right.
What can we take away from all of this?
I think it encourages us to be more discerning consumers of information,
Right.
to question the narratives we encounter, and to recognize the subtle ways in which power and belief can be used. Yeah.
Both for good and for ill.
It reminds us that history isn't just something in textbooks.
Right.
It's a living force that shapes our world today.
Exactly.
And often the most unexpected stories, like Li Guangchang's 5-year reign as a self-proclaimed emperor, offer the most profound insights into human nature and the complexities of our world.
You mentioned Li's attempt to connect with Taiwan.
Right.
And the acquisition of an imperial jade seal.
Yeah.
These details weren't just for show. Historically, the imperial jade seal symbolizes the mandate of heaven.
Oh, wow.
The right to rule in China. By connecting with Taiwan, he was trying to legitimize his claim in the eyes of his followers in the world.
It's amazing how these seemingly small details add layers of complexity and meaning to the story.
It's those layers that make history so fascinating.
Right.
I encourage you to delve deeper into this topic. Explore the history of millenarian movements.
Yeah. The psychology of belief systems, or even the social and economic conditions of rural China in the 1980s. Yeah. Understanding the past helps us navigate the present and shape the future.
It makes you wonder, could a similar movement arise today?
Right.
And if so, what form might it take?
That's a question worth pondering.
Absolutely. Well, that was quite a journey through rural China and the rise and fall of a self-made emperor. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did.
Oh, me too.
And who knows, maybe your next deep dive will unearth another hidden gem of history, challenging your assumptions and sparking your curiosity. Keep those submissions coming.
Yes.
And we'll keep diving.